Today, we need to talk about Jin and some brand new military photos that have come out, and people are screaming invasion of privacy again. And then we have some backstage shirtless pics that ended up being taken, and then we have YG seemingly got pretty mad about some news. So hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, he's spilling my merch, and let's go! YG has been on the news lately over the situation of several of their artists who seem to be leaving YG. This is quite shocking for several reasons. One of them being that we as the fans are concerned over why these artists want to leave such a big and powerful label. There has to be something allegedly going on inside the company, but there is not that we know of. We've had news of Taeyang and Dasun from Big Bang leaving YG to go to the Black label. Just for context, the Black label is owned by Teddy, who is the main producer for BLACKPINK and works with several YG artists. So people were even more confused why an employee of YG is suddenly stealing all of these big artists. This, as I said, is interesting to the fans, but then also to any investors that are invested in YG. Obviously, if you are someone that puts a lot of money into YG, you are hoping to bank on the big artists of the label. It is reported that every time a bigger artist in YG has a comeback, the stock goes up because investors are predicting that YG will have more profits for that season. So much so that for this reason, analysts always come out with a seasonal statement or prediction on when a comeback will be, because the market needs to know in order to attempt to accurately invest in the right company. However, none of this is always accurate, and most of the time a little off because they don't work for YG and it's hard to know. The news got even weirder today when it was announced that allegedly BLACKPINK was leaving YG for the Black label. I don't know where this came from and who started that rumor, because BLACKPINK's contract I think ends in 2023, so they still have time, and if BLACKPINK did plan on quote-unquote leaving YG, I don't think they'd make that information public, because you don't just want to make your plans public. And if YG knew that BLACKPINK was leaving, they might just stop promoting the group right now as they're going to leave. Allegedly, YG initially said that BLACKPINK has some time on their contract and it was impossible to know what they'll do when the contract ends. Very soon after, they simply came out and said it was false. It's not happening. I also want to add that even if BLACKPINK did leave YG for the Black label, it is currently reported that YG is an affiliate of the Black label, meaning YG controls up to half of the Black label. Meaning even if BLACKPINK did leave for this other label, YG would still own them. It's not really leaving. It would be leaving if BLACKPINK left for SM or JYP or those other labels. I don't even consider it to be leaving even if BLACKPINK left for HYBE, because the two are partners. And so it's just weird to see that online. It's quite obvious that BLACKPINK likes to work with Teddy, and so they're going to work together, but it doesn't mean that BLACKPINK is going to go over to that label. K-pop is interesting because the behind the scenes stuff that is often hidden in Western music tends to be a lot of what makes the news in K-pop. This is both good and bad, as fans think that they have the right to input their opinion on how to run a company when maybe they don't understand how the world works yet. Comments like a company only cares about money, you are correct. That is why they're called a company, not a charity. That's why it's called the music business and the industry. What becomes very much unethical is if any of these companies or businesses are physically assaulting or mentally hurting their employees or workers, which doesn't happen as much as you think. If you're seeing it on the news, it's still rare, which is why it's so shocking to us. And oftentimes less serious leaks and photos that come out are out of the company's control, and they will happen. There's not much a label can do to stop the circulation of those things. For example, during older BTS concert moments, the members would often change their outfits even before they got off stage. They would sometimes even start ripping their shirts off right as they step into the backstage area, and when they do this, there's no question that the concert goers are going to see it, and the majority of them are already recording on their phones. So they'll just move their phone and capture that moment. We've seen moments on stage for a concert where Jungkook was wearing an open blazer. The blazer was definitely not supposed to be that open, and it was believed that there was a bit of a wardrobe malfunction. I think the button fell off or something, and Jungkook was annoyed. Later, when the song finished and they had to change into their next outfit, Jungkook went and ripped the blazer off before he even left the stage. So then the image of him literally taking it off was very clear. It wasn't like an army had to be at a certain angle and peer through the curtain or whatever. It was still technically on stage. There was even a another moment that was being talked about more recently, where Taeyang was seen taking his shirt off as he was running backstage, and he didn't even take his earpiece off yet. And you're definitely supposed to take those pieces off as they go into your pant pocket and under your shirt. And just fun fact, not so much for concerts or film, but reality shows, they sometimes have very sharp needles, like lav mics, that they either tape or pin into your shirt, so if you're not careful about removing those, you could prick yourself. However, obviously, Taeyang wouldn't rip his shirt off like that if there was anything dangerously sharp there. But these photos ended up circulating online, and there's really nothing anyone can do. And oftentimes when a photo is posted online and goes viral, that's kind of it. The photo will tend to follow the artist around, whether it's a slightly embarrassing one or a fun one. And you can't remove it. It's the internet. There's definitely some pretty derpy pictures of me online too, and you're welcome to go and make more. It is what it is. I'm not going to go and try to remove them. And these are things that the boys are used to. I'm sure I was very surprised to hear that people were upset over the idea that Jin's military photos were posted, claiming that they were leaked and all these terrible things. There's been so far 3 photos that have officially come out, and these are really the only photos that have come out. They were either posted by K-Media or posted officially by the military camp website. But since they were not posted by HYBE, people are saying that these are not official photos. Jin is not in HYBE right now. I don't know what else to say. There's a photo of Jin's headshot where he stands in front of a flag, and there's a brand new photo of him with his colleagues, and they're all sitting on a chair. And there's one photo of him released by K-Media where he is carrying chairs. At no point here is there any privacy invasion. He is not doing anything private. You can't argue these photos were not taken by his permission and not released by his permission. First off, the headshot photo of him, he posed for that. He posed for the military to take that photo. They were obviously going to post it. These headshots are public, and then the new photo that came out with Jin and his colleagues, he also sat down with them and posed for that. And if you pose for a photo, then that's consent. Do you think that Jin just thought the camp staff were going to just eat the photo? Delicious. You can argue that the photo of Jin carrying chairs was against his consent. However, the government has the strictest security, and they will not let the media in there unless there's some consent. Media was not even allowed during the send-off day, and you're telling me that the media didn't try to reach out to see if they could get into the camp that day? They likely did, but they were denied. Media can't legally just go into private places without consent, and it's so annoying because when you tell these people online every point that I just made, they're like, no, I believe what I believe, end of discussion. But no, it's not. You still believe something false, and you're trying to harass the company, Twitter employees, and everyone around you to believe this false narrative. The military is not leaking private information. I highly doubt they are posting anything without the knowledge of Jin. If I were to attend a wedding or any sort of situation in which I would pose with a group, I can expect to log onto Facebook and see myself in these photos a week later. I'm not going to be shocked that there are photos of me. I was actually surprised when there weren't photos of me in a different situation, actually. And also the photo of Jin carrying some chairs, it's pretty hard to hide yourself as a cameraman from taking photos. Like, it's pretty obvious. If you've ever been stalked or watched, you'd probably understand this. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about, unfortunately. But it's obvious someone is looking at you. It's even more obvious that someone is taking a picture of you. Jin knows that there was a reporter there, and to be 100% honest, I think it's a good thing. BTS talked about their fear of coming back from the military and not being in the spotlight anymore or losing their fame. I don't think that will happen. However, if there's still coverage while the members are in the military, it will kind of be hard for the public to forget about them. They literally won't be forgotten. And it's kind of the only way for them to quote unquote be working without them working. Like, they're promoting secretly by getting media attention while still obeying the military rules of no working while in the military. I don't know if that is something HYBE is doing intentionally. I don't think so. But if it was, I think it would be clever. And I think if Jin is down, they should do it and allow more coverage if it's safe. It's a great way to keep all of the members fresh and in everyone's mind, and more importantly, relieve the members' fear of being forgotten. Let me know what you think, and make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Currently, the $1 tier is open, linked below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.